Thank you for listening to the Business Blast podcast. So for all my listeners out there that have been wanting to do your own podcast, I'd like to introduce to you Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, distributing, and monetizing your podcast. So before I found Anchor, I had never actually done a podcast because all the research that I had gathered made it seem very complex. Then I found Anchor, and Anchor makes podcasting extremely simple. So if you want to do your own podcast, go to anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast.
Welcome to the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite provides you with all the resources you need to become a successful author. You can learn more about Authors Unite and join the free community at authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today, I have Jonathan Rodriguez with us. He's a LinkedIn B2B lead generator and motivational sales speaker. So welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thank you very much, Tyler. I appreciate the time to get me on here.
Of course, man. Grateful to have you here. We'll dive right in. The first question I have for you, Jonathan, is what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
All right. One story I can think off the top of my head is trying to get this one client. It took me about 6 months. It took a lot of persistence, you want to say, to get this client, and also a lot of value that I had to present to him up front. But this story goes as anybody starting a business, you try to develop something too fast when in reality it takes a longer time. With this particular client, I spent a span of 6 months meeting after meeting after meeting, presenting him with a lead generation system for Facebook. And after these, 6 months, it's really, I want to say, the persistence that really overall made the experience great. Learning that, something after a couple no's, there's a yes. And, I want that message to go out to everybody. Even though you're getting a lot of no's in life, there's always a yes right around the corner.
Yes, I agree. And there it was. We'll go to the next one. The next question I have for you is, what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
All right. This one I was thinking beforehand. I want to tell everybody about JetBuzz.io. With this tool, it's an automated messaging tool and connector tool for LinkedIn for B2B or B2C if you're looking for that. This tool is very valuable. It reduces the time at hand trying to connect with the right people, but you also have to have Sales Navigator subscription with it. With this tool, I was able to grow a client's connection base by over 800% from 324 connections to about 1,100 to date. They're still running and sending out connection messages. The final result will be about 3,000 connections that he can organically send content out to.
That is awesome. I'm going to have to we'll have to chat more about that then. I use a tool called Meet Leonard. Are you familiar? So we'll have to chat about that then and compare a little bit. I'm curious.
Yeah.
The next one I have for you is, what is your best piece of overall business advice? So not necessarily industry specific.
Okay, not industry specific. It comes from my favorite book, Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. And in this book, he says they always move the cheese. And just like with anything, your cheese might be that vacation you want to take, that partner you want to partner up with, that dream job that you're looking for out of college. They always move the cheese, and you always have to anticipate the change. Your cheese isn't always going to be there for you, and it's going to get moldy, and you're going to have to move on to the next cheese.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
That would be to listen to my mother more. Yes, keep your parents in mind. When I was younger, I was a little bit stubborn in the direction my mom was trying to push me. Just like Gary Vaynerchuk says, your parents might be holding you back, but it's vice versa for me. It's, my mom was my motivation growing up. So listen to your mother.
and maybe it's the same answer to this next question. Maybe not. In your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
Key to happiness is going back to this book. I'll give you a little bit more in the process. It's the process of picking up the little bits of cheese and being happy with the little bits while you go and get your big cheese.
And what is the best book? Maybe we've already said it. I'm not sure. What is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
Best book I've read, I have to say, it has to be with it's called Jack by Jack Welch, the CEO of GE. And the best piece of advice, he started out with the anticipation of making $30,000 a year by the time he was 30 years old. And he was making $10,000 a year when he first started with GE. But with that being said, it's being happy. That's what I got.
And what is your favorite quote and why?
Favorite quote? That's a hard one. I don't have a favorite quote per se.
It can be like a mantra too. It doesn't have to be word for word.
Okay. It's be happy with what you got. Be grateful. It's simple philosophy, but yeah.
Totally, man. Thank you again so much for coming on. The last question I have for you before we let you go is, where is the best place for people to find you online?
LinkedIn would be the best place, or on Facebook, Rodriguez Consultancy. I'm on Facebook there, but mostly just LinkedIn. Shoot me a message on there. I'll be happy to help.
Perfect, man. Thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.